Hi, I'm Jenny Lee Hodgins, the hostess of the new and returning Piano Learner Facebook group. Good afternoon for our Tuesday Piano Tips Live. Today's topic is, do you have pain at the piano keyboard? Fix this and be pain-free. If you are new or you're returning to the piano and you're experiencing pain, you need to check your seating and your keyboard setup. So if you don't know this, playing the piano requires proper posture and body alignment. So if your body posture or your hand position are not aligned, you may experience tension or worse, pain. Worse than that, you may develop bad habits that later on are more challenging for you to break. So check your posture at the keyboard. Here are some things that you can look for. Or if you don't know and you're new at the piano, here's how you align yourself at the keyboard. First, you align your belly button to middle C at the keyboard. If you don't know where middle C is, it's the white key to the left of a group of two black keys, just right under it, right under the brand name of your piano keyboard. So whether it's an acoustic piano or a digital keyboard, there's usually a brand name right in the middle of the keyboard. That's where middle C is, to the left of the two black key group. So make sure you're sitting centered with I just line up your belly button right in front of that middle C. You want to sit on the middle to the front edge of your piano bench or seat. You do this so that your feet are firmly planted on the ground beneath you. Okay, so you've got 2 balance points there so far. We're going to work towards a 3-point balance system. You want to sit on the middle or front edge of your seat so that your feet are flat on the ground. And then when you rest your hands on the keyboard, on the piano keyboard, you will complete a 3-point balance stool for correct piano seating. So check those things. Make sure that you're sitting properly at the piano before you even start. Another thing you want to really watch for, particularly as you get going into your piano practice, as you start thinking so much about the musical elements, you start to forget about your physical awareness. So make sure it's set up properly to start with. And one of the things you can look for are, where are your forearms? So your forearms, basically when you're seated at the piano correctly, your forearms should be parallel to the floor. When you're resting your fingertips on the piano keyboard, your forearms should be parallel to the floor. And you need to adjust your seating height if you have an up angle or a down angle from your elbow to your fingers at the keyboard. So if it's not parallel to the floor, and you've got an up or down angle from your elbow to your fingertips at the keyboard, then you are sitting incorrectly at the piano, and that will definitely cause tension and eventually pain and very bad habits in terms of how you're playing the instrument physically. If you've noticed that you're sitting too low and you need to raise your height, you can sit on books or cushions on the piano bench if you're playing an acoustic piano, or if you have a digital piano keyboard like me at home, you can use adjustments on your keyboard stand to make sure you're sitting properly at your digital instrument. If you're interested in an adjustable piano bench or a keyboard stand that's adjustable for the perfect height, I'll send a couple of links your way in case if you do have a digital instrument and you want to get set up properly. I'll drop those so you can check that out. One thing you can do to just check yourself to make sure you're aligned properly is to take a video or a photo with your camera at a level viewpoint, so you can really see what angle your forearms are and where you're sitting on your bench. Or, even better if you've got just a mirror that you can place right next to you to check yourself, or have somebody else take your picture and then observe the picture and see what might need to be adjusted. Correct posture at the piano means that you need to sit upright with the crown of your head directed toward the sky. As you progress into more complex musical adventures, you're going to be leaning left or right to reach higher or lower keyboard ranges, but generally you want to be sitting upright with the crown of your head towards the sky. You want to watch out for slumping or bending over or stretching or reaching with tension in your hands or arms or neck or shoulders. If you're feeling pain in your hand or your wrist, stay tuned for next Tuesday's Piano Tips Live on how you can avoid or resolve tension and what to do if you have pain at the piano keyboard. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the comments. I love hearing where you are in your piano learning journey. We share many of the same obstacles or goals, so please don't be shy with your questions. You might inspire me or someone else as we address these things together. Would you like to help me as a beta reader for my book? If you don't know, I'm revising my book, Start Piano, What You Need for Successful Learning. And the book basically offers my best piano tips for new and returning piano learners based on my 30 years experience as a music educator, professional pianist, and piano composer. But I'm revising the book with my personal history and how my personal history impacts the information I'm providing in the book. And also recommended resources are getting some updates with a much broader selection for quality and convenience. I'm also adding new info due to some changes that have been influenced by the pandemic situation. If you offer to help me as a beta reader, you're going to get a chapter or two to read. And then after you have about a week of time, offer your honest feedback to me. Any suggestions for editing, proofreading errors that you find are welcome. Constructive feedback may also be about the content order that I've got, or suggestions for things that I omitted or things that you think should be added as topics that I missed. And also beta readers, like I said, you'll get a 1 week time frame to submit feedback, and you don't need to be a professional author or editor as a beta reader. If you love reading and writing and piano and you're willing to spend an hour or two with an excerpt to provide your authentic feedback, you are my perfect beta reader. And you may share information or feedback with me any way that's most convenient for you. It can be a voice message through Facebook Messenger. It can be a video recording, written notes. You're going to get a link from me that takes you to a Google Doc, and you can request access as a commenter and just put your notes right in there in the document so I can see it without, you won't mess me up because I have another copy of it. Beta readers are very helpful to me because it's just a new fresh pair of eyes. It helps me make sure that I'm on track with giving new and returning piano learners the best info. To kind of express my appreciation to beta readers, you will be the first people to know when my book is published on Amazon and when it's available on my website. So if you would like to proofread and offer feedback on my book rewrite, just drop me a book emoji below, and then I'll get in touch with you through direct message. If I have your email, if you're already subscribed to Your Creative Chord for more piano tips, then I'll just send you an email directly. And please check your email from Jenny at yourcreativechord.com. Be sure also to look in your spam folder if you volunteer, so you don't miss my message. And if you're a Gmail user, make sure you move my message into your primary or your inbox or important folder so you won't miss anything from me. Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday live, especially if you're feeling pain in your hand or wrist. You're going to want to be here for next Tuesday's Piano Tips Live, because I'm going to talk about how you can avoid or resolve tension and what to do if you have pain at the piano keyboard. Part of the Piano Practice Challenge goal is to motivate each other and celebrate each other's progress and victories, and also to share some things that are working in our piano practice so that we can motivate each other and help each other out. So on that note, I've been working on memorizing some things. So I finally got the Bach 13 Invention memorized. I have the Bach Invention 8 memorized, and I've been working on the Bach Invention number 8 for a while. I don't know what it is about Bach. Bach is tricky sometimes. You think you've got it memorized, and then out of the blue, you'll just have a complete mental glitch on it. And that's how I was dealing with the Invention number 8. I'd come to it sometimes and play it fine, and other times I'd just come to a total blank. What I've been doing to remedy that, and it seems to be working, is when I work on my Bach piece that is memorized, that I'm trying to keep from memory up to par, I try to start in random sections. I pick a spot in the music, and sometimes I might have to glance at the sheet music to just remind myself what's there. And then I start there from memory and try to work through it just in that section. And I'll do that randomly. Sometimes I'll start at the very end of the piece. I'll start in the middle of the piece. This is challenging for me, but especially for that Bach piece, which has 2 different independent hands. I tried playing the left hand part and kind of humming the right hand part simultaneously, just to kind of help myself grasp it. That's hard. It's kind of like this, but that seemed to really help. And then when I went back to play through that piece more from memory, it worked pretty well. One of my pieces, an original piece I composed called Sun and Bloom, I've got that memorized. The Bach Invention 14, the Bach Invention 8, the Bach Prelude number 1, those are all in my memory, and I'm trying to maintain that, and I'm trying to add a few of the other of my originals to it. And I've been working on the Haydn Sonata in E very incrementally slowly, and I do work on that. It's not memorized, I'm still learning it, and I do work on that in a very similar way. I don't start at the beginning and go all the way through. I tend to just start in random spots and see if I can work out the details of whatever. Sometimes there's tricky fingering, sometimes there's tricky rhythms, sometimes there's tricky dynamics or musical phrasings where one hand releases and the other one continues. It's more of this tap your head and scratch your belly. Wait, I think I did it backward. Tap your head and rub your belly, don't scratch your belly. Anyway, don't try this at home, it's unsupervised. These are just some of the things that I've been doing, and I've been sight reading. This week I sight read the Beethoven Moonlight first movement, and I sight read a Chopin Mazurka. I've also been doing different kinds of technique. I've been doing some Hanon, but then I intersperse these things. So I play my scales or my Hanon or any technique in the key of a piece of repertoire that I'm about to practice. So I'll start maybe with Hanon exercise 9 and 10 in C major, but if I'm going to play the Bach Invention number 8 in F major, then I'll play that Hanon exercise, those two Hanon exercises in the F major key before I practice the Bach, for example. So I've been doing that, and I've added playing scales in whatever keys are relevant. I've been playing them in thirds and in sixths and in contrary motion. You don't have to do all this if you're not doing all this stuff. I'm not trying to say that you need to do what I'm doing. I'm just sharing. For me, it's been working to give myself more variety in terms of the technique so I don't fall asleep at the wheel. Keep myself excited. I've been doing some work on really trying to memorize pieces and keep those. They're memorized, but I'm trying to get them up to a new level of musicality once they are memorized. If you haven't memorized some pieces, I recommend at least memorize one, because it makes you feel really good about yourself to be able to go anywhere where there's a keyboard and be able to play something without having that music to look at. So that's just a little personal report on my practice this week. It's been going pretty well with a little bit of gaps in there, and there were some times that I think there was one day I only had 2 checks over there. And that just meant that I didn't have time or energy for technique or sight reading or anything. I just literally played through all the pieces that I'm working on as best as I could. I just played through them. I didn't even practice. I just went through them because life gets busy. We're all busy adults. You know how that goes. I'm working myself on a new schedule. There's always stuff that gets in the middle, throws a wrench into your schedule. So that's why I keep going back, and I want to highly encourage you. Set a goal. My goal is every single day, starting today, 7 days a week. And that doesn't mean I always make my goal, but if you don't set the goal, you're not going to make the goal.